at the ring, and yesterday's was one of the best I have seen in years. It was competitive across the driver changes across the full 50 minutes and decided by fractions of a second at the end. Here we are, a much better day, 17 degrees air temperature, but look, the track temperature is about 10 degrees higher than yesterday, 24 degrees. That should give plenty of grip for the drivers, but it's about how they use that grip. But that's the beautiful view out over the Eiffel Forest, and the cars just beginning to form onto the grid. Some have taken the opportunity, in fact most are doing the run through the pit lane rather than coming onto the circuit. There's one from Vincenzo Sospiri Racing just making a way around for another lap, but everybody waiting to greet these cars on the grid. 48 cars I think was the number we had yesterday, and there was racing for the first place right down to the tail of the field as well. Everyone had a scrap, and of course for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. And we're just taking a sighter lap with Mika Stanley. Actually, of course, we've got the 4 classes of cars. He's running, the young British driver is running in the Pro class, showing with Mattia Michelotto. That's one of our camera cars. It's the one we saw moving away, white with the yellow and blue lines, the key lines at Vincenzo, former Formula 3000 champion, used to have on his car. And he runs Lamborghinis all around the world. But here, dry conditions. This is the descent down to turn 5, tricky corner, and then the next one that follows is turn 6, and it, obviously numerically, but it guides the cars down to the hairpin. 17 turns in all. Track distance 5.1 kilometers, 3.2 miles. 50 minutes will be the starting with the time on the clock. We're due to start at 45. 11:45 local time. We'll have all the ceremonies down on the grid, but for most of the crews, they're 2 driver lineups. A handful are racing solo, probably about 10 or so, maybe a dozen in this field. So they will have to get to the point where the pit window opens before coming in. And for those who are not doing a driver change, they will also call at the pits, but of course they will not get out. They'll have to serve their minimum pit stop time before they set off for the second part of this 50-minute race. Pit exit has been closed for about 30 seconds, so that means nobody else can do another run through and get another sneaky lap around the circuit. But they're not having to explore the track conditions today. They've understood they're uniformly dry, whereas yesterday they just wanted to know, yes, it's damp, but how damp? So, up on the front of the grid, we're going to have Frederick Schandorf in pole position. That's car number 81 for Target Racing, and he's showing that with Alex Au. Alex comes across from Hong Kong for his racing, and Frederick Schandorf has done a lot of racing in the Far East, so they're a very, very good pairing indeed. So there's the Dane on board. And the rule is, of course, the driver in a 2-driver lineup who does the start of race 1 does the second part of race 2. So everyone gets a go at the start of the race. And still this giant field of cars feeds around. Stefan Tripodini, outside the front row, is actually running in the AM class. Frederick Schandorf is the pro in a Pro-Am lineup on pole position. Then a whole host of pro entries in behind. But a good run yesterday for Tripodini and Randazzo as they won their class. And they're already class leaders in the AM class, so that augmented the points they're gathering across the course of the season. And the European Super Trofeo gets to its finals at Jerez in November, and then the next 2 days are the joining of all the Lamborghini Super Trofeo races series from around the world for the World Finals. And last year's World Final victor was the driver who won yesterday's racing, Amaury Bonduelle. And the person who pushed him hardest was this man here, the Dane, Largim Ali, was championship leader along with his teammate Oliver Soderstrom for Target Racing, but then by coming second rather than first yesterday, that meant Bonduelle has now got his nose in front in terms of the points. But today, Largim Ali, here he is, with dark curly hair, will be starting 3rd on the grid, but Bonduelle will be starting immediately behind. You can see the gold livery, car number 28, there is the new championship leader. It's going to be a real scrap between those 2 drivers, and let's see if they can work their way to the front, or will Frederick Schandorf show them a clean pair of heels up to the point of the pit stops before he hands over to his teammate Alex Au. Bonduelle, though, had a real advantage yesterday because the track conditions were so difficult. He already experienced in the first part of the race, came in for the pit stop, but he knew what to expect when he went out. Any of the other drivers who were just the second drivers, they had to sort of guess and sort of gauge the track conditions in the greasy conditions when they went out, and Bonduelle just kept pressing on. Still, the cars come down the middle of the grid and then they peel right or left according to their qualifying position in that line behind the Lamborghini Urus, the mighty SUV at the front of the field. But let's go down to the grid. It's warm and it's sunny, and we're with Stefan Tribodini's car, but we're going to talk to his teammate with Piergamo Randazzo. I'll fall quiet because Dakota will be talking in Italian.
Piero, ieri ho vinto il gara, oggi asciugata, è meglio per te?
Allora sì, prima cosa, ieri è tutto il weekend che stiamo andando bene, abbiamo fatto la pole sia io che Stefan in condizioni di bagnato, oggi condizioni asciutte, speriamo di far bene. Vincenzo Sospiri Racing ci ha dato una macchina che direi è molto buona, è molto confidente. Adesso con un po' di scaramanzia aspettiamo e speriamo di vincere.
Now Stefano fatto un bellissimo qualificato. He was fantastic in qualifying.
Yes.
And front row of the grid, it's going to be perfect.
Yes, Stefano have made a fantastic job, and I hope that the first part of the race will be easy for him, because there are a lot of strong drivers behind him, and we hope that the first part of the race will be easy and to keep the car in front maximum, and I hope that it will take the car for the second part more confident as possible.
In bocca al lupo.
Crepi.
What he pretty much said, Piero, I said to him that today is going to be obviously a very dry race. He said Vincenzo Sospiri Racing had given him a mega car for today, so hope all for the best. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. For Dakota down with Piergiacomo Randazzo, who's sharing with Stefan Trebodini. Stefan will do the first part of the race, but to have an AM class car starting on the outside the front row is fantastic. Really good performance. Stefan Gurat also running in the AM class. He's going to be starting from 6th, but he'll be going solo in the number 13 entry, and that's fielded by Schumacher CLRT, which is also running cars in other championships this weekend. Very busy weekend for them. But in fact, we've got another AM runner just almost behind him, Cyril Salai. So we've got 3 AM runners in the top 7 grid positions, and they'll be doing their best to keep their cars at that point in the order. But there are going to be some very quick drivers looking to go past them. But I think today, the advantage of having a solo drive isn't as much as yesterday when it was wet and you really needed that knowledge of how slippery the track was for the second half of the race after the driver change. But there are the grid of cars. It's beginning to warm up air temperature-wise, 17 degrees. But let's go down to Dakota again, and we'll hear with our pole sitter, and Frederick Schandorf is on board. He's going to tell all.
Schandorf, a Lamborghini veteran, starting on pole for today's race. This is your first race, obviously, of the season. What's the competition like this year?
Yeah, it's been really good. Yesterday we had a lot of tricky conditions, and now it's going to be dry, so it's going to be quite different. So I think everybody's going to be pretty close now. So there's a lot of focus now to still keep the lead for Alex, and then we see how it goes.
Are you ready to go? Are you going to make your car as big as possible into turn 1?
Probably, yeah. Let's see.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's always good to catch a driver just before the start of the race, but some drivers, when already in the cockpit, aren't too keen to speak. But clearly there's enough bandwidth there for Frederick Schandorf to be relaxed enough to talk to Dakota. And for Target Racing, it's looking very tidy at the front of the grid because they've got that pole position. They've got some other of their team cars right at the sharp end as well. So the black car on pole position is Frederick Schandorf, the driver. Alongside is Stefan Trebodini, the white, yellow and blue Vincenzo Sospiri Racing car alongside. That's in the AM class. The Pro-Am pole, the driver on pole is in Pro-Am, and a lot of all-pro driver lineups are tucked in behind. The race is 50 minutes. There is a mandatory pit stop in the middle. It was an absolutely brilliant race right from the front of the field to the back yesterday. And look at this packed grid of cars, nearly 50 cars out there down to play. Now, bear in mind, yesterday we had a start behind the safety car because conditions were so tricky. This time we're going to have that wall of thunder as everybody accelerates down towards the first corner. It's very wide on the entrance to the first corner, but then it funnels down, and the drivers are going to have to bear that in mind. 5 abreast is one thing on the approach, quite scary that may be, but really there aren't that many lines when you get down there. So the green flag is waved, the formation lap commences, and when the field comes around, we'll get to play. But look at this amazing field of cars. One you need to look out for is the gold one running in about 5th position behind the yellow car. That is the new championship leader. He's one of the solo drivers, Amaury Bonduel, and he won yesterday, but only by the smallest of margins because Larguim Ali starting in the third challenge. So Frederic Schandorf on pole for Target Racing, Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, Stefan Trebudini leads the AM class alongside. Go down to row 2 of this 24-row grid, and we've got some other real race challenge as well. Isn't it a fantastic shot? All these liveries, the cars, the field goes on and on and on as they twist their way around the formation lap. There's a lot to fight for. 4 classes of racing. Fred Schandorf on pole position for Target Racing. Down to row 2, Larguim Ali so nearly took the win yesterday for Target Racing. Had to settle for 2nd place, lost the championship lead. Amaury Bonduel is the championship leader in 5th. Look out for young Georgi Dimitrov, who's making great progress for Iron Links. Hampus Eriksson starting 10th. They went really well yesterday. And Jacob Riegel, one little slip up yesterday, but he's very quick indeed. Igor Orchev will be running solo. And alongside the Lewandowskis, Adrian and Andre, they are looking very strong this year. Levey and Milos Pavlovic on row number 7. There are 2 formation laps, by the way. Shota Abkazava, who took victory in the Lamborghini Cup class, will start a very impressive 15th for Artline alongside Jerzy Spinkovic, the Polish racer. Marko Gasaga, Huilin Han. Huilin a bit further up the grid today for Target Racing. As you can see, a lot of teams run a lot of drivers. And then Strignano and Laurent Hergon form. We're getting down towards the middle of the grid here. Row 10 of 24. Yeah, 24 rows these cars. Quite phenomenal. Karimoje from Saudi Arabia and from Egypt, Emmanuel Bedawi racing for DL Racing. And then Stefan Racina, he went very well and took victory in class yesterday, sharing with Broniak Formaniak, and then further down. Look out for Duran Nuitra, one of the young drivers in this field. Donovan Privitiello starts 27th alongside Pietro Perolini, and Donovan shares with another Perolini. Right, Mika Stanley, he should make progress for Vincenzo Sospiri from 29th. And looking for other names that are going to work their way up the order. Renaud Coppens springs to mind for his national team, for Boots and VDS. Number 49, Iron Links car that John Seal is starting today, was one of the few that didn't get to finish yesterday, so he'll have his fingers crossed. Now the cars, you may notice, extra formation lap, but the race clock has started because the pole car, Fred Schandorf, has gone past. It was 2 formation laps, but the second one is with the clock counting. So the field will not, Fred Schandorf can't run away and hide. He's got to wait until the safety car, the Urus, peels off, and everybody else, their job, they're still coming through the final corner of the field at the moment. The field is so long with these 48 starters. They've got to wait, get up close to the car in front, and they cannot overtake until the start-finish line. But for Fred Schandorf, he will control the start. And the job of the driver in the white car behind is, that's Stefan Tribudini, is to stay as close as he can. And if he's going to anticipate when Schandorf jumps, he's got to be careful he doesn't go past him. But his job is to get as close as he can to get a toe down towards the first corner. And likewise, in behind, in 3rd place on the grid is Larguim Ali, championship leader with his teammate Oliver Soderstrom yesterday, but then coming 2nd, dropped them back behind this man, Amaury Bonduel, car number 28, new championship leader, always a threat, likes to race solo. Yesterday it really was a helping hand when conditions were very tricky indeed. Today's a dry track, so there are no great mysteries, so the second driver doesn't have to be too concerned about how conditions are. But I tell you what, Larguim Ali, at this point, there they are down at the hairpin. This is effectively turn 8, needs to get a much closer. All of the drivers, their job is to get under the tail of the car in front of them, ready for the end of the second formation lap when the field is going to be released. The clock has already started counting down from 50 minutes. There's the Urus leading the field around. Tucked in behind, Fred Schandorf, then Stefan Tribudini, Larguim Ali, Giorgio Amati, haven't talked about him, car number 42, Amaury Bonduel, Stefan Guerin, Cyril Salai. Car number 43 should be next in line from Iron Links, and that's Edgar Malouin, one of the French racers in this field. And they're going to come around actually into a 2x2 start. Let's hope they can stick to that position as they go. Fred Schandorf has the easiest job of the lot. He's leading the field around. He can put his car just where he wants it. Down the drop they go. There's the castle in the background, and the Nordschleife peels off to the left for the full Nürburgring experience, 25 kilometres. And for those in the pits, all they can do is watch and hope and pray that when they get to about the halfway point in this race and the pit window opens, they're suited, booted, ready, and their car is in a good position. Now the field is doing what the race director wanted them to do, getting the 2x2 formation for this start and some drivers not quite so good at maths there. Now we're getting them side by side into their 2x2. Up to the chicane they will come. Neat and tidy, full of focus, full of attention. They know the track conditions are dry, should be no surprises for them. Certainly the driver, Giorgio Amato, is spending all his time trying to get around the car in front of him. Can't do that until we get to the start-finish line. Then he can actually try and make that move, but not before they reach the start-finish line. But it's about getting as close to the car in front, if indeed there is a car in front. And there is the tightest point on the circuit. There is the chicane. Will we get them all through at full racing speed at the next time of asking? The anticipation is rising. The tempo is rising. This is middle of the pack. Looking for position. In fact, there's a little down towards the tail of the field. I think that might have been looking forward from Mika Stanley's car, but right now it's on the outside of the front row. It's Stefan Trebudini. On the inside, the safety car has pulled off. Now it's all eyes on the lights, and the pole starter, Fred Schandorf, looking. The lights on the gantry are red. Now they're green, a very early flick, and who's going to react best? It looks though further down the order is where they went best. Near contact with Trebudini's got his nose in front, and the first thing he did was pull sharply across in front of Fred Schandorf, and in behind, three abreast. Amory Bonduel's yesterday winner is down in about 9th position. He started 5th, but he's gained a position back. He's on the outside into turn 1. Very, very tricky, but job well done by Stefan Trebudini. So we've got an AM-class car leading the race, and behind Fred Schandorf trying to force his way back into 2nd position. He's being pushed very hard. Oh, he's got a driver up the inside into turn 3, but will he give him the space to do it? Who can get the braking done? Well, that was a mighty move from Edgar Orodchev, who's Igor Orodchev, who's gained about 7 positions. He's up into 2nd position. That was forceful. So the blue number 57 into 2nd position. That was a massive surprise. So Artline team will be delighted with that. And in behind, it's 2x2 and 3x3. Car number 34 pushing very hard there. That's Paul Levet. Oh, people really pushing it on the exit of turn 6. Dip a wheel in the gravel there and you're going to be in trouble. Fantastic onboard shots. Pack group of cars down to the hairpin. They go neat and tidy, but really Stefan Trebudini got the job done away from the start line. Got his nose in front of pole sitter Fred Schandorf. And then I think we're about to lose a few door mirrors. This is coming up the slope through the Schumacher air. So here's a bit of track. You can just see if you're starting down the order, and you do naturally have the pace, you've still got to find the place in which to do it. But right now, our first 3 starting to get away. We've got Trebudini from Orodchev, who started, I'm just going to double check, down in 11th position up to 2nd. That was truly astonishing. All his fortune must have come his way. He was clearly quick off the line, but other cars must have slightly interrupted each other, and he guessed right. But pole sitter Schandorf in 3rd place in the black car. Then there's a tiny bit of a gap. Trebudini's trying to make an escape. Driver who started for Giorgio Amati in the bright yellow number 42 is pushing and probing. Right, what's the gap, 1st to 2nd? Well, I'll offer you 0.536 of a second. That's the margin Stefan Trebudini has over Igor Orodchev. A little bit of a twitch there from Fred Schandorf, and then a lock-up from the driver in 4th. And Jacob Riegel has now moved up ahead of Amati. But did he get into the corner and out in 4th place? I think he did. So the American really putting a marker down. Sorry, the German putting a marker down. Looking very, very busy in that pack. This is the battle for just outside the top 10, and we've got a spinner, unfortunately. There was the contact, but Edgar Malouin and Georgi Dimitrov, and it's young Georgi who was the driver who got shoveled wide. He's probably lost about 10 places, but he's got back going and was able to rejoin without having to wait for too many other drivers to come past. Now, that's the exit of turn 4. That's a gravel trap at the exit of turn 4, and that's Micah Stanley, who already gained about 10 positions. Someone else has pulled off on driver's left. Hold on, is that Trebudini? Or was there another car that pulled off on the opening lap for Vincenzo Sospiri Racing? So let's just double check that. Stefan Trebudini was the race, but lots of cars in team liveries. Micah Stanley only now is getting out of the gravel trap in the background, so that's been a bit of a disaster. But turn 6 is a corner that tightens and tightens. It's about 110, 115 degrees to the right, dropping downhill. And clearly car damage as sitting side on in the track. That's really unfortunate. I think that was Cyril Salai, perhaps. And now overtaking wherever you look. Car number 34 for Oregon team is always in the middle of it, Paul Levey. That's the car with the pink nose and the green tail. And fighting really, really hard indeed with Adrian Lewandowski. But here is our leader, so fear not. Stefan Tribadini's car is still running. It must be one of his teammates that's pulled to the side of the circuit. This is the battle for the lead of the race. Now, this is the battle for the everything in the race. And this is what happened with Cyril Salai, car number 26, out into the gravel. Then he has to continue. Did something, then break in the suspension there. Car pitched sideways, rotating around, and unfortunately everyone seemed to get past it. But that was a small incident that turned into a far, far bigger one. Right, here are our first three. Tribadini leading the way, Igor Oretsev in second, but for how much longer? I was about to say that Fredrik Schandorf was starting to look a little bit quicker in third place. He'll be frustrated. He started on pole position, didn't get a great getaway, went back to second, then going into turn 3 on the opening lap, the blue car in front of him came up his side and forced him out the way, grabbed second place. That's Igor Oretsev, who started, I'm just going to say this again, from 11th position, running second. That's astonishing. Fourth place, let's look at the battle behind, because Amaury Bonduelle, who made a poor start from 5th on the grid, dropped about 9th, is now in 5th, back his starting position. He's got Jacob Riegel, young German racer for Leipzig Motorsport, tucked in front of him. And very, very close behind Giorgio Amati, the yellow-nosed Lamborghini. The first three, though, they've got a bit of breathing space. There's a gap of about 4 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds between the... No, actually a bit less, about 2.5 seconds back to this group, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Yeah, Jacob Riegel doing a very good job there, holding down 4th place. Car number 70, entered by Leipzig Motorsport, showing with fellow German racer Sebastian Balthasar. Sebastian, a lot more experience in the Super Trofeo, been racing in the series for quite some while now, and always at the front end of the field. And if I may, I'll just run through who's leading the various classes. The pro class is being led by Igor Oretsev. In second place, the race leader is leading AM, that's Stefan Tribadini. The Pro-Am is Fredrik Schandorf in third place. And to be completist, let's find the top driver in... It's Donovan Privicello, who's stopped... No, it's not. It's Shota Abkazawa, about 17 positions further up the order, dominating Lamborghini Cup class. That's the 4th of the 4 classes. But here, Jacob Riegel's doing a really good job to defend from Amaury Bonduelle, keeping the gold car behind him, but those behind are starting to bunch up. Giorgio Amati and Largim Ali. Largim started 3rd, and the fact he's down in 7th position shows clearly he was one of the ones who guessed wrong in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th corner sort-outs on the opening lap. Now, what's Amaury Bonduelle trying to do? The wider line in, trying to get the tighter line out. He's got his nose up the inside of Jacob Riegel. Riegel's going to try and duke it out around the outside, but no, that was... The experience coming through from Amaury Bonduelle, and Riegel may well lose. In fact, he has lost another position to Giorgio Amati, but Amati's going to be a little bit wide on the exit of turn 4. Wasn't able to carry the momentum, and that means there's a challenge, and it's all changing. And who's coming up the inside? Look for the black nose car with the green stripe across its flanks. Largim Ali, he made that poor start, lost positions. He is regaining positions. The car he really needs to get ahead of is not Jacob Riegel, who's sitting in front of him. It's the one in front of that. That is the team BDR competition car that is driven by Amaury Bonduelle, who took the championship lead from Largim Ali yesterday. Giorgio Amati up the inside, didn't like losing a position. He's gained it back. So just as Largim Ali was thinking, right, I've just got to focus on passing Amaury Bonduelle up ahead of me. But now he's got 2 cars between him, so he's got to do it all over again. And he's got competition. He's got pressure from behind. Number 33 is coming to the... That's super experienced racer, Milos Pavlovic. And he's certainly starting to wind it up, get his car up towards the front end of the field. Great racing here in the Super Trofeo. Stefan Tribudini, here we are, leading the race. We heard from his teammate down on the grid. And Stefan looking relaxed, but he's going to have to be relentless in his pace because Igor Oretsev is closing in. And the only thing that's holding Igor Oretsev from maybe trying to pounce is the fact that Fredrik Schandorf is very close on his tail. But in the moment, we've got Tribudini leading the race in the AM class. Second place, Igor Oritsev in the pro class. Third place in the AM class, the driver who started from pole, Fred Chandov. But look at the gap. It's best part of 5 seconds back to Amaury Bonduelle. But the good news for Bonduelle and the bad news for Larguim Ali is that Bonduelle has now dropped Jacob Riegel and is able to stretch his legs and maybe just start heading off after that front trio of cars. Drivers getting more and more confident on their approach. They're breaking points for the first corner. As you can see in that little group of cars, sometimes slow in can mean fast out, fast in can mean, well, just a longer exit, or the gravel trap, deep gravel trap straight ahead of the drivers at turn 1, and it certainly has scooped up a few drivers over the course, not just of the years, but this weekend. But actually, that said, yesterday, always very, very good indeed. So yesterday we had just really tricky conditions, very slippery, not brilliant visibility, and yet the drivers, they just loved it. They thrived on it, and they really behaved. A handful of spins, nothing unexpected though. Now, Jacob Riegel, having gained good positions at the start of the race, he started down in 9th place. To be, running up in 4th was fantastic. He's down in 5th. The championship leader's gone past, but now he's got Giorgio Amati all over his tail. Amati in the bright yellow car. Car number 42, entered by Iron Lynx, and Iron Lynx very busy in this. They've got 4 cars in the race. And the Lamborghini Super Trofeo just grows and grows. We've got a pit visitor, unfortunately, someone who's one of the Oregon team cars coming in. Was it car number 34? No, that's still going very nicely. That's just at the background of the shot here. 42 is Giorgio Amati, as I said, running for Iron Lynx. Oh, this is Cyril Salai. This is the car that went through the gravel at turn 6, ended up sideways across the track at turn 7, and now was off just before turn 6. So that's clearly a nemesis corner for him. And now Larguim Ali has had enough of Giorgio Amati. He said, I got past you once, you then dived past me. I'm putting you behind me, and there's another car soaring away at your tails, and that's Milos Pavlovic, so he can keep you company. I have got to go after those in front. But Amati's not taking no for an answer. He's going, well, I'm going to use your slipstream. So what does Larguim Ali say? Well, if you're coming past, you've got the outside line. Then Jacob Riegel actually quite heavy on the brakes there. I thought they might be clattering into him, but Giorgio Amati is just like a terrier nipping away at the black and green car of Larguim Ali. Jacob Riegel, I don't think is as quick as either of them, but he's not at the moment holding them up because they're just so busy fighting with each other behind. A great little 5-car bunch. In behind them is Milos Pavlovic and car number 34 from Oregon, Paul LeVay. He's going to hand over to Hungarian racer Laszlo Tott in the second part of the race. And this is why these drivers come racing. On a circuit like this, space to play. They did a fantastic job. We've had a spinner coming out of the final corner, just had a squeak, but it's not these guys. Down to the hairpin they go. Front 3 cars. Stefan Trebidini is thanking Igor Oritsev enormously because he's just sucking up the pressure from the driver who's probably the quickest of the trio. Fred Chandov, well, he did qualify on pole, but he cannot get past Oritsev. This is the view from Fred Chandov's car. Waiting for the moment to make a move, but Igor Oritsev is showing his years of experience and not offering any hope whatsoever at the moment, not even half a chink in the armour. In the second half of the race, we'll start getting the front runners up among the back markers, then traffic may have a role to play in that. We'll wait and see. But the Artline car, blue with the yellow flashes, sitting 4 square on the track. Last time around, the race leader, Stefan Trebidini, was just under a second clear. I think he might be just over a second clear, waiting for the confirmation of that. 1.3, that is important. The lap has gained him over a third of a second. That could be a really crucial, because this race is going to be short-sorted surely by fractions of a second. Oritsev, though, is not leaving any gaps in his armour at the moment, so Fred Chandov is having to wait. Jacob Riegel running in 5th place. He's fallen nearly 5 seconds behind Amaury Bonduelle since Bonduelle, the new championship leader, got past. But then, since then, he's got this train of cars behind him, and almost every lap you think the order's going to change. Well, there was a little bit of a look there into turn 4 from Paul LeVay for the Oregon team. Down they come. Turn 5. Turn 6 is a really tricky one. This is the left-hander at 5. and they flick across to 6. Now this is the run from 7 down to the hairpin. This second and third places, and almost getting the nose up the inside. Fredrik Schandorf, he had to kick the tail of the car out. There wasn't much space for him to play, but Orodsev has denied him again, and every time that happens, they both have their line compromised. They both lose a bit of momentum that they were wanting to gain, and that means Stefan Trebudini is pulling clear in the lead of the race. And for Stefan, he's running in the AM class, and his teammate, we heard from him on the grid, Pier Giacomo Randazzo. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, just have a good, safe start to the race. No, is this Paul Levey who's... no, it's another one from the Oregon team. This is Pietro Perolini. I thought it could easily be Levey because he was stuck in such a good battle at the tail of the top 10. Could easily have got it wrong. Right, we're still riding on board. Oh, wow, a real thump of the curve. This could be the chance. Igor Orodsev made a real hash of the chicane, and surely, couldn't get the power down while the car was still settling. That was probably because of the severe pressure being applied by the driver who's carrying our onboard camera, who's started on pole, is now back from third into second. That driver's name is Fredrik Schandorf, and he is pushing on. He's going to now see if he can stretch clear. So the battle for second place has finally been sorted. And who's closing in the background? Amaury Bonduelle. As they were delaying, he was gaining tenths of a second here and there. Behind them, Jacob Riegel in 5th. Now Largim Ali in 6th. And he's spotted that Riegel was a little bit hesitant, has left the door open. That has given him the chance to get up into 5th place. And it looks though Giorgio Amati in the yellow flanked car, currently 7th going into 6th. It's all changing. That was just a little bit of caution from Jacob Riegel. Oh, and then in the background, Paul Levey ending up getting shoveled wide because we've got a new person coming up to play, car number 31, Hampus Eriksson. He was behind that group, but gradually as they were fighting, he was closing in, got to join them. Another car entered by Target Racing, and there's a bit of a gap behind there. But for all of these cars, it's just, it's a fantastic circuit. They're having some brilliant racing. Oh, a little bit of a mistake there from Jacob Riegel. Turn 6, the front washed away in the blue and red car, and that may give half a chance. The driver tucked in behind. That's Milos Pavlovic in the green car. Not quite enough momentum to go up, but again, Riegel bunching up the cars. And then Paul Levey. Did he get a little bit of a push there? They all got bunched up behind Jacob Riegel. Maybe he just actually slightly outbraked himself, or they all had to brake harder than they wanted to. There's Riegel, blue and red car, right behind Milos Pavlovic, and then suddenly Hampus Eriksson saying, thank you very much. I've just gained a couple of positions in half a lap. Up in the lead of the race, the advantage is nearly 2.4 seconds. Trebudini continues to lead from Fred Schandorf, but Fred Schandorf can finally attack. He's been released from behind Igor Orodsev. But Jacob Riegel has had a busy, busy time, and here he is with Milos Pavlovic all over his tail. Pavlovic driving car number 33. And now Hampus Eriksson working his way forward. He was one of the drivers who sort of lost out a little bit at the start and then has regained places ever since then. Oh, they do like to abuse the curbs in the chicane. They're trying to get the tighter exit, and Jacob Riegel diving into the pits. The pit window opened just 10 seconds ago. Not the first driver to come in, but certainly one of the early stoppers. In fact, Giorgio Amati, I think, is the first of the front runners to make a pit stop. Jacob Riegel comes in behind, so their teammates ready and waiting in the pit lane. Trebudini 2.3 seconds the good, and the hosts of the midfield runners in this 48 car field diving in to make their pit stops. The pit window is open between 20 minutes and 30 minutes into this 50-minute race, and having been released, Fred Schandorf now starting to try and hunt down the race leader. This is car number 11 we're looking at here. And that's one from Michanek Motorsport. Broniak Formignac won his class yesterday with Stefan Rosina. That's the Pro-Am class, and he's in the mix again today. But he's outside the top 10, and that class is being led by Fred Schandorf in second place overall. So there's really quite a gap between them, 13 cars between them. Race leader Stefan Trebudini. Now you can see how much Igor Orodsev was holding back Fred Schandorf, because as soon as Schandorf got past, he's absolutely started opening out nearly a second. Now here's second, third, here's fourth. Amaury Bonduelle started 5th, dropped to about 9th, working his way forward from there. But Stefan Trebudini has not put a wheel wrong at all so far. So that's very, very good for his teammate, who's waiting patiently. Probably not patiently now, probably quite impatiently for Randazzo. Up front, though, still Stefan Trebudini still pushing on as he as well as he can, but Fred Schandorf now starting to hunt him down. But both of them know their time before they report to the pits is going to be very short indeed. And is that lead that Stefan Trebudini has built up enough to keep him in the clear? And when he hands over to Pier Giacomo Randazzo, so Pier Giacomo is going to be thinking about all of that, and it's also the team trying to work out where exactly the car is going to come out when it emerges from its pit stop. About a third of the field have dived for the pits, and this next time around, another third, I think, will make their moves. And suddenly there's all this traffic in front of Igor Oritsev. He was running in third position, that blue number 57 from Artline. And suddenly all the sort of solitude that our race leader in the number 66, Vincenzo Sospiri car, had, that Stefan Trebudini, suddenly there's traffic left, there's right, there's centre, kicking up dust in his face. So maybe this is the moment he's starting to think, I'll come in and hand over to Pier Giacomo, but he's the more experienced driver, so he wants to stay out as long as he can, come in just before the pit window closes. And likewise, Fred Schandorf in second place is going to want to stay as long as he can. And why? Because he's now right on the tail. He's closed the gap from just under 2 seconds at the start-finish line, going through turns, the Schumacher S's. There's the turns 9 and 10, and that's clearly not 1.5 seconds, 1.9 seconds in front of him. It's down to about 0.9 of a second. Maybe even that has been half. Maybe he's only half a second down. So the traffic has worked better for the chaser, for Fred Schandorf, than it had for Stefan Trebudini. Stefan just not wanting to try and unsettle the driver of the car in front through turn 13 up to 14 and 15. It's the chicane. Still others are coming into the pits. I'd still expect Stefan Trebudini to continue. There they are, nose to tail, the white Vincenzo Sospiri car. Amaury Bonduelle dives in. He's one of the drivers who's driving solo, but he has to stop as long as the other pit stoppers, so there's no particular advantage to be gained there. Now here's the couple of cars coming down to the first corner, but it's the second of the Vincenzo Sospiri cars we're looking for, just coming into shot now and right on the tail. Again, a white car with a black car giving chase, but in this occasion, there is our race leader, number 66, Stefan Trebudini, and right in behind car number 83, which is Schumacher CLRT car, Simon Thurman, sharing that with Simon Gachet, but he doesn't want that in his way. Amaury Bonduelle looks cool, calm, collected. He's serving his time in his pit stop, but the big question is, will he have gained any around this lap? Because he's at a time that the other front runners are being obstructed by slower back markers, and it's costing them big time. A half second here, a half second there, and suddenly Bonduelle, who was running fourth before the pit stops, may find his margin of deficit has been reduced big time. It really is about how you handle the traffic either side of the pit stops in these Super Trofeo races. Stefan Trebudini has driven, just beautifully today, but suddenly he's got a challenge from the driver who outqualified, the only driver who outqualified him, and that's Fred Schandorf. Igor Oritsev has fallen back somewhat in third place in the blue number 57. But our race leader, yellow and red warning flag, slippery surface. That's something they'll all have to attend to, and that's as they come through the sweep at turn 13, the fast sweep. You're flat out there before you rise up the slope to, where would you not want oil? I tell you what, the entrance to chicane, that's where they're flagging it. So all the drivers are going to have to be very, very aware of that. Now, Giorgio Amati pitted really quite early in the sequence, and he's handed over his Iron Lynx car to Jesse Salmonaccio, and Jesse qualified third yesterday. And so do expect a good result from them. And of course, in a race where you've got two drivers, you don't always have drivers of equal standard. So if you've got a really good average across your pairing, you will gain through the course of the 50 minutes. Gain position. Right, the pit window is still open, but it's only got 3.5 minutes remaining, and our race leader is being held up all the time. There he is in the white car. And that is Stefan Trebudini. He's not wanting to waste any time. He dives up the inside of number 39, which is from Target Racing, Huilin Han, Chinese racer, and both of the front runners, first and second, having to run wide on the exit of turn 4, trying to get past Huilin. Has Huilin seen Well, you better see the car alongside because it's running for the same team, for Target Racing. As Fred Schandorf, who was the driver giving chase, and I think the order has been, looks sorted the right way. Right, now we're riding down the slope to the hairpin. Turn 7 is just a little kink. This is the driver in second place, Fred Schandorf, but the driver he's chasing is in the white car just ahead of him, but trying to keep the others out of the way. Both drivers compromised there. Slightly tighter line had to be taken by the class leader, the race leader. That area is car number 66, Stefan Tribudini, but every time he gets past the back mark, he's thinking, just stay there, just hold up, the driver who's giving chase. And the driver who's giving chase, we're riding with him now. That's Fred Schandorf. Turn 11, 12. Now the track is going to start dipping away. 57 now leading the pits. He's coming out, Igor Oritsev, and we're looking for the gold car, so he's kept it ahead of Amaury Bonduelle. They were running 3rd and 4th before the pit stops. They have done their pit stops, and the big question, I thought Bonduelle may have closed in a bit more, and Oritsev may have jumped him in the pit stops, but it's where number 66 and this car from second place, Fred Schandorf, coming into the pits. They left it as late as they possibly could, so Stefan Tribudini coming in to hand over to Pier Giacomo Randazzo and giving chase. Fred Schandorf coming in behind him. Car number 81 from Target Racing, Alex Au, driver from Hong Kong, is waiting. Are they going to emerge in the lead of this race, or were they compromised by all the back markers they had to run through by delaying their pit stops right to the end before the closing of the pit window? The pit window is still open, but this was their last chance to come in. Beautiful day here at the Nürburgring, but for either of these drivers, or their co-drivers more to the point, after the driver change, after the mandatory minimum pit stop time, when they get back out onto the circuit, that is the opportunity to see, have they had a better job of it than Igor Oritsev. Igor leading the race after the pit stops. He came in from 3rd position, but remember, for lap after lap, he kept Fred Schandorf behind him, and that allowed Stefan Tribudini to escape. And then once Schandorf had got into second place, the Dane set off after Stefan Tribudini got right onto his tail, couldn't quite find a way past. They've now had their race, they've reported to the pits, and their teammates are waiting to take over their second driver. But for Igor Oritsev and for the Artline team, it's just looking very, very solid at the moment. But as long as the pit stops are clean, from Stefan Tribudini to Randazzo, and likewise from Schandorf to Au, those cars should emerge ahead. And again, the thumping of the chicane there, that was Amaury Bonduelle in the gold car that's running effectively in second place of those who've pitted. The driver who now it's a scramble out of the pits, and the order is exactly as it was before. Here is the car coming out actually for 3 or 4 seconds ahead of Oritsev. So the cars that came in from 1st and 2nd actually did not have their lead compromised. They, if anything, have extended it by staying out as long as they could. So now it will be Randazzo from Au. They came out of the pits in that order. Then it looks so Oliver Soderstrom has gained a fair degree of time. He took over from Largim Ali. Remember, that was the car that very nearly took victory yesterday from Amaury Bonduelle. But how are they going to settle down? So tight. And looking who else, Jesse Salmonatio, saw him in the mix there, car number 42. But into the pits from the lead came number 66, and it should be back in the lead with Pier Giuseppe Randazzo. Second place should be Alex Au. 3rd place, quite possibly, just checking where Oliver Soderstrom is, but it was a neat, tidy pit stop for the 66 crew of Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. Around the bottom of the slope. Looks tidy. Well, we know for sure that Igor Oritsev is still in the hunt. The blue car a little bit bottled up there. Right behind. Arrivals side by side they go, and Oritsev looking as forceful he was in the first part of the race. He's picking off those cars that he doesn't think should be in front of him, but all he wants to do is just look at the white car that's running up ahead, because that's the race leader, and it's Pier Giacomo Randazzo. Amaury Bonduelle is in the background here, tucked in behind Alex Au, so he gained on Au. In fact, Au lost in the pit lane, took over from Fred Schandorf, and now he's just content to leave the door open. He recognises that Amaury Bonduelle is fastest, or faster than he is, and he's worked his way through. And this is the view from Alex Au's car, leading the Pro-Am class. but over the start-finish line. Here is the new accurate order. We've got Randazzo leading the race, leading the AM class. We've got Igor Oritsev in second place, the blue number 57. Amory Bonduel just out of the bottom of the shot in third. Alex Au came in from second place. He's running in fourth. And Jesse Salmonato just out of the bottom of the picture in the yellow car. And then Sebastian Baltazar, blue and red car, took it over from Jacob Riegel. Pit window has been slammed shut, no further pit visits, and there is a car sitting in there, but that's clearly one that's got an issue of some sort. But for Pier Giacomo Randazzo, driver from Naples, he's got to try and defend this lead. Right, we've got what left on the clock? 17.5 minutes. His advantage is 3 seconds. This is going to be a big ask because Igor Oritsev led the start of the race. And Stefan Trebudini just got out of the leading car. He's been caught by Dakota, and he's going to tell us about his opening stint.
Stefan, that was an absolutely mega stint. Where did that speed come from?
Really, it's strange. It feels like it's not me in the car, like somebody else drive the car. I cannot understand that speed. It was really crazy. The start to jump the first guy. I was really happy to be first, but also nervous a bit. But I try to stay calm, to really be focused on the next corner every time, and it pays really a lot. So I'm so happy. Really, the team make an amazing job because yesterday we drive on the wet, so the setup is for sure different. But I was so easy at the wheel with the car. It was really stable. I can push a lot without taking too much risk on the braking zone to not be overtaken. So happy, so proud of the team. Now I hope my teammate Piero will do the job. I don't tell him to stay in first position overall. It's not the goal. The goal is to be first AM. So I hope he enjoyed the stint in the first position.
Now, as you said, the car is really on point for your style of driving. Do you think it also suits Piero's?
Yes, because when we set up the car, we always focus on both drivers. And for sure, my goal is Piero have a nice car to drive because I think there is more to gain with him. So for me, the car is perfect also for him because I have a smooth driving, so I don't use a lot the steering. So for the arm category like I am, I really think it's the good way to set up the car to be confident and to push.
And we saw you got into a little bit of traffic when the pit stop window opened. What are the other competitors like on track? Is it very aggressive?
It was frustrating for sure. I was faster. He did some mistake in front of me, but I think the team tell him it's an arm on your back. Sometimes it's a bit strange for the pro driver. So yeah, I was stay calm. Don't try to overtake him because my goal is to finish first arm, not to touch any car. And I think I was faster even with the traffic than Piero. So it was important to make a gap to be easy for Piero to stay in first.
Good luck, bon chance. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, bye-bye.
Thank you. So during that interview, Stefan Trebudini, his car continued to lead. It has now just been passed. Piero Randazzo way out front in the AM class, not leading the race anymore because Igor Oritsev has muscled his way past. Didn't have to because basically Pier Giacomo realised he was coming up, he was quicker, let him pass. He has now dropped to second overall, but leading the AM class. The next car in the AM class is down in 12th position. So as long as he can stay there, it should be class victory for Stefan Trebudini, who we just heard from, Pier Giacomo Randazzo. So it doesn't really matter which position he finishes in overall, as long as he wins the class. And it's like a repeat of the first half of the race. The number 70 entry now in the hands of Sebastian Baltazar in the middle of a fantastic battle. The tail end of the top 10 has been magical in the first half of the race. And going through to the finish, number 9 has fallen back a little bit because that's Oliver Soderstrom, and this is the car that he was leading the championship with when he came here with his teammate Largim Ali. Yesterday, it very nearly snatched victory from Amory Bonduel. Coming out of the final corner, just didn't get the grip required. Number 17 keeping out of the way there. That's Sylvain Doms. He's... Oh dear, Alberto Di Folco. I noticed a couple of cars coming into the pits outside the pit window, and I'm just hearing drive shaft is broken, and he was, certainly a contender, not contending today. So very unfortunate for one of the challengers. There came here 6th on the points and got some good points in the bag yesterday. So he and Benedetto Strignano will be disappointed with the sunny day here at the Nürburgring. Less than quarter of an hour remaining, less than 13.5 minutes actually remaining. This 50-minute race is flashing by. And this battle at the tail of the top 10, car number 31 now being propelled And that really, I think, is the word by Hampus Eriksson. He's the black, yellow and white car at the back of the group, tucked in behind Oliver Soderstrom, the black and green car that Lagim Ali was racing in the first half of this 50-minute race. Down the slope they go through turn 6. Don't use too much curb there. And ahead of them, Jesse Salmonatio in the yellow car. Right, this is Stefan Tributini. He's fallen from first to second. He's now got Amaury Bonduelle, yesterday's race winner and new championship leader, closing on him fast. Bonduelle is running in the pro class. Randazzo is running in the AM class. He's going to leave the door open where it's convenient to do so. That's the corner, turn 6. Where he... No, not that corner. Another corner where he let Igor Oritsev through. Lights are flashing from Amaury Bonduelle, but he's not going to do it there. Remember, not long ago, there was a yellow and red warning flag for slippery surface. Up to this point, the entry to the chicane. Has Bonduelle got enough alongside? Yeah, he has. Randazzo's driving very, very well there. Let those two through. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Jesse Salmonatio, so he can get his rhythm back, get back onto the racing line in the number 66 Vincenzo Sospiri racing car. There are our first three, with Igor Oritsev pulling clear. I can take note of what the margin is. Here we are with 12 minutes remaining. The margin first to second, 4.7 seconds. Can Amaury Bonduelle make it 2 wins in a weekend? Well, we'll find out, but he's got quite a challenge. Looking very, very busy in behind, because suddenly Sebastian Balthazar is getting very close to Jesse Salmonatio, but the Finnish driver in the yellow car goes into turn 1 ahead, comes out of turn 1 ahead. Totally different lines, but what you can see is Sebastian Balthazar, number 70, is just trying to unsettle him. Battle for 4th place. Go one way, go the other. Yeah, you could just see. Oh. Well, there we are. I'm afraid Sebastian Balthazar, clearly his intent was clear. He was going to be coming through, and eventually Salmonatio didn't make it too difficult, and then ends up getting muscled off the track for his efforts. That's really unfortunate. Well, looking at one of the drivers we're going to catch up in the pit lane is Lagim Ali out of 9.
Lagim, now Operation Beat Bonduelle today is not really going to plan. You are in 6th place currently and he's in 3rd. There's about a 12-second difference between the two of you. How can you catch up?
I think it's damage limitation at this point. I had a complete shambles of a race start. I have to look back and see what I did wrong, because it was completely wrong what I did.
And is there any damage on the car?
I don't think so. I hope not. But.
And what's the advice to your teammate out there? Obviously, you can't actually tell him anything because there's no radio between the two of you. But today's a very dry day, definitely different conditions than yesterday. Does this suit you better?
I think the rain suits me better, actually, because I'm Danish, so it rains a lot in Denmark, so I'm quite used to the rain. But no, the dry is also all right for me, but also for Oliver as well.
What about your teammate?
Yeah, for him as well.
All right, well, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, and then just as we were looking at that, suddenly number 42 goes for a loop. All the work Jesse Salmonatio had been putting in, and he was very, very close to the car that Lagim Ali was talking about. Oh, well, actually, there may be a reason why he went around, because there ain't quite enough rubber on that rim. Was that cause or effect? I suggest the way it snapped around, the puncture was picked up before he turned into the hairpin, and when he had turned left and then wanted to turn right, the tail came around and did well, actually, not to collect anyone else who was around him. So Oliver Soderstrom keeps on going, but he was very nearly collected by the spinning Jesse Salmonatio. So disappointment from one of the front-running cars, both yesterday and today. And he's limping in, trying to get into the pit lane. Let's try and understand how that all went on. Was the contact early between them? No, he's out of the way there. Was the contact there? Oh, well, that's the tyre that went down. Maybe there was, and the slow puncture suddenly went when the Finn arrived at the chicane, and round it went. Certainly, I was commenting that Sebastian Balthazar was being quite physical on his way through, but side by side, nothing wrong with being physical. Right, so as it settles down, race leader Igor Oritsev, car number 57, picking his way through up the order. His lead is 5.2 seconds ahead of Amaury Bonduelle, and I would think that Oritsev should be able to defend that all the way to the finish. We've only got 8.5 minutes until the end of the race, but traffic has had roles to play. The gold car in 2nd place, Amaury Bonduelle, all he can do is chase and chase a little bit more, but the clock may not be his friend. as this race counts down. Not too much traffic around them. Running in third position, leading the AM class easily. Here he is, Giacomo Randazzo, car number 66. Like all the others, bounced over the first part of the chicane. Just double check, he's running first in the AM class, he's third overall, 8 positions ahead of Stefan Guerin, car number 13 for Schumacher CLRT. So that looks relatively safe. And Alex Au is leading the Pro-Am class. He's down in 8th position. Remember, that car started on pole position for Fred Schandorf, dropped down the order a little bit, but well, here's the car that made it to the pits with not quite enough rubber on that right rear corner. Clearly, one has to presume another Pirelli is going on, but was there any bodywork damage? Well, driver thinks enough is enough. There's no point going out later in this race. So, disappointed Jesse Salmonaccio walks away. The car's going to be packed away for another day, but he tumbled down to the end of the order. It was a slow limp back from the chicane. Luckily, the tyre went very much towards the end of the lap. Right, Sebastian Balthazar, here is car number 70, running in 4th place. He's nearly 7 seconds down on Giacomo Randazzo, so I don't think there'll be any place changes for him. But importantly, he got to the front of the group. So down to the bottom of the hill they go. And Sebastian Balthazar is taking chunks of time out of the driver in 3rd place, which is Giacomo Randazzo. There's Randazzo, but his concern is just making sure he continues towards the end of this race, towards victory in the AM class. So it doesn't really matter if he's passed, but a matter of pride will dictate that he's going to try and defend his nearly 4-second margin over the 4th place chaser. And it doesn't matter where you are in the order. Stefan Lemeret is way down. He's a lap down, but he's just wanting to get past. He's obviously had delays for his car, the number 27, earlier in the race, and he's just saying to Randazzo, go away. I'm trying to chase someone who's actually just ahead of me on the track. Randazzo running 3rd overall, leading the AM class, is not prepared to budge, though, right now. Frankly, why should he? Gap between 1st and 2nd, 6.7 seconds now. As much as Amaury Bonduelle was trying to take chunks of time out of Igor Oritsev. Oritsev is counting the clock down and going away. 4th place here, blue and red entry, Sebastian Balthazar. No, he's 5.3 seconds down on Randazzo, so don't suppose he'll manage to take 3rd place. And leading the Pro-Am class is Alex Au, car number 81, riding aboard with him down the start-finish straight. Is he going to be close enough to make a move? The person he's chasing is Jerzy Spinkovic, but Spinkovic isn't in one of those cars up in front. This is a view for Andrei Lewandowski, showing with Adrian. Just trying to pick out the cars up in front. Again, it's that moment you're waiting out of turn 2, waiting to release the power and get that flowing. But Alex Au has got plenty of company. He's got car number 41 taking a move up inside him, and that was nice and neat and tidy. That was Stefan Bostanchiev, Bulgarian racer, running for Iron Lynx team. But Alex Au didn't race in this series this year until just this weekend, so just getting accustomed to these Super Trofeo races as well. Again, deep into the hairpin. Conditions so different to yesterday when the track was really greasy, grip, wet, damp, changing all the time, visibility rising and falling with a sort of mist lying around. But it was great racing, some of the best I've ever seen with Super Trofeo. Today it's been a dominant run for Igor Oritsev. He's now 6.7 seconds clear. And bear in mind, he started 11th on the grid, but on the opening lap he made a move from between turns 3 and turn 4 to go into 2nd place. Just unbelievable. I don't ever want to be the person bearing bad news. It's not bad news, yes, but there are about 8 cars under investigation for potential pit stop time infringement. There's a minimum pit stop time. If you go beneath it, then you are going to get pinged. But let's go down. Sebastian Balthazar is absolutely flying in 4th place at the moment. Let's go in here to the driver who drove it early on, Jacob Riegel.
Jacob, now it hasn't been really a great year for you so far. Yesterday was very unlucky. Today looks a little bit better, you know, 4th overall, 3rd in class. What else is possible? We've got only a few minutes to go.
I think the rest time of the race is not 2 minutes, so I think there's not a big change now, but we are now currently P3 in Pro and P4 overall. So I'm happy with that. Looking backwards on yesterday in the rain, it was quite difficult. Now the dry conditions suit us a little bit better. I had a good start coming from P9 to P3 or P4 in the first corner, so that was quite good. And then Sebastian did a mega job, had a mega pace, and now got, I think, 2 places and put us on the podium now for the pro class. But I just hope we arrive now like this.
Yeah, we won't say anything too quickly, but 2 minutes to go, as you said. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Fingers crossed. One of the cars that actually is under investigation for potential pit stop time infringement is the one of which we've just been talking. So having worked so hard to get up to 4th place overall, perhaps, and I'm not making any guesses in any direction, Sebastian Balthazar and Jacob Riegel could be disappointed. But let's hope nobody ends up with that, because it's a very, very disappointing way to have your race interrupted and interjected. Now here's fans standing up, and something happened around turn 4. They're taking a look in the grandstand. Great view for them over the turns 1, 2, 3, 4 complex, but there's always something going on down a rung there. And then, well, that's one way of arriving at the corner, straight on and into the gravel. Car number 74 to the back. Report back to the track when you can. Dimitri Angelbert's team, and Dimitri was the driver who kicked that off, but did it actually hit the tyre wall? It got very, very close indeed. Again, that's just braking slightly too late for the hairpin, but the gravel trap is there for a reason. And it was Dimitri at the wheel at the time, and he was actually running very well in his class. He was 1, 2, 3. He was running in 3rd or 4th place in class. So how frustrating to get right to the end. We're almost into the final minute of this 50-minute race. Our race leader, Igor Oritsev, is out front by nearly 7 seconds. The driver heading to Am victory is the driver who's holding down 3rd place overall. Here he is, Pier Giacomo Randazzo. We heard from him on the grid. The driver running 2nd is Amaury Bonduelle. The driver leading is the one we're looking at now, car number 57, Igor Oritsev, the Artline team, long-time competitors in the Super Trofeo. And actually just double-checking on the progress of the team boss. He's leading the Lamborghini Cup class. He's just gained a position to go to 23rd overall. That's Shota Akuzawa, so it could be a double celebration for this driver, Igor Oritsev, who looks set surely now with half a minute until the checkered flag comes out to take a victory in the 2nd of the 2 races. It couldn't have been more different to yesterday's race. Yesterday was in gloomy, wet, slippery conditions, fantastic racing, and today this all came down to a sensational getaway from the grid to start 11th and to emerge from the opening lap in 2nd place. It takes bravery, it takes form, but it does take fortune. You need other drivers to make errors for you to get past, and Igor Oritsev had to work hard. Was chased by Amaury Bonduelle, he was chased by all sorts of drivers, but today he's got the better of Bonduelle. He's nearly 7 seconds clear. The clock counts down. There is a yellow flag in turn 1, by the way. This is the final lap of the race, and Igor Oritsev has not very far to go to come through to build on yesterday's performance. There's the checkered flag. Victory to the Artline team. And then wait in the background, you see the gold nose of Amaury Bonduelle comes through into 2nd place. That's car number 28 there. There it is. Then there's a bit more of a gap here, Giacomo Randazzo. He's running in that group. I think he's possibly just lost a position, or has he not? No, is that 66 coming to line? A whole gaggle of cars. Yet Randazzo comes home in 3rd place overall to win the AM class. So very, very impressive run. Sebastian Balthazar comes home in 4th. So now riding with Alex Au, about to see if he can get victory in the Pro-Am class. Wait for a bit of debris in the middle of the track there on the start-finish line. Avoided by all of those, and in 11th place, victory to Alex Au in the Pro-Am class. So he lost a couple of positions on the final few laps, but his intent was clear. He wanted to make sure that his car, rather than Formaniac's car, would win in the Pro-Am class, which is exactly what he's managed. So a race really, really full of some cracking racing, it must be said. But victory outright, Igor Oritsev today, Amaury Bonduelle 2nd, the driver who finished 3rd, Pier Giacomo Randazzo, winning the AM class, so double celebration, an outright podium and victory in class as well. So a good day at the office. And just double checking, Shota Abgazara lost a couple of positions, but he won the Lamborghini Cup class. That is car number 75 for the Artline team. But the sister car won the race outright. There it is, Igor Oretsev for the Artline team. Cruising in, the driver who finished second, Amory Bonduelle, has driven on past. In fact, yesterday, Bonduelle enjoyed his victory so much he did an extra lap before he came in. But today, second place has built his championship lead yet more. He came here second in the championship, moved into lead yesterday, and Amory Bonduelle is stretching his points advantage at the front of the field. Good race, 50 minutes of great fun. Two cracking races, two totally different races on two very different days here at the Nürburgring. But yesterday's winner in the gold car, Amory Bonduelle, goes out of shot. But today's winner, number 57, Igor Oretsev, savouring the moment as he cruises background, and in behind you can see Sebastian Baltazar, but the driver who finished third is somewhere in the mix there, but he also won the AM class. Pier Giacomo Randazzo, building on a fantastic opening stint from Stefan Trebudini. And just to reiterate, Alex Au shared victory in the AM class in 11th place overall with the driver who started on pole position, Fred Schandorf. So as the cars come back in, it's good to see the Nürburgring bathed in summer sunshine. Last weekend it was very hot, just along the road for lots of people racing at Hockenheim. Today feels very different, but yesterday felt like another country. Cold, wet, grey. Today, bright sunshine, great racing, and I'm sure Igor Oretsev will have a massive smile on his face when he comes into the end. He'll park up just underneath the podium, and I'm sure the Artline team will be waiting, not just for him, but also for his teammate, for Shota Abgazara, who gave them victory in the Lamborghini Cup class as well. So Igor Oretsev spots the number 1 board. Amory Bonduelle waits his turn and pops in alongside. But second place, another helpful dose of points for them. Going to keep an eye on any incidents, various incidents under investigations. Cars 10 and 74 for investigation of the first corner. But to my eye, Dimitri Angelbert was the driver who just sort of went on down, braked a little bit late. But Kalle Bergman was the driver of the other car, but I think no blame is likely to be apportioned for that, but all incidents have to be considered. And now the drivers can cool down a little bit. It was a little bit warm in the cockpits for them, no doubt, but for Igor Oretsev, there's his car in the background, looking great in the summer sunshine, and victory here in race 2 of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe here at the Nürburgring. Well, let's go down. We mentioned Igor. Let's find his words and find out really was that Igor.
Igor, congratulations. What a fantastic race. I bet you're so happy to be standing on the first place.
Yeah, finally some luck. Great start from P11. After I would never thought that I would exit P2 or 3, I don't remember, but pretty good. And then great race management after that. Car was finally, I think we find something, and finally it was mega. Usually we struggle with tire deck, so I was a bit worried. Didn't fight Frederick too much as he was in another class, but after that, just managing.
And how did you feel having Bonduelle probably in your rearview mirror, thinking, you know, he's a very good contention?
Yeah, I was worried that he would catch up quickly, but I think he also struggled with tires, and at the end, I'm a bit far in the championship, but so I don't think he would risk it too much. But anyway, big thanks to Texol and Artline Racing for the opportunity to race here. Wonderful.
Congratulations.
That was the sound of a very satisfied Igor Oretsev, and it's small margins in top-level motor racing, but today, clearly the tyre deg was not an issue, and he drove beautifully, aggressively at the start, and made it work. "50 minutes of racing, drove solo, started 11th, came home first." And take a look for the blue car. Amazing start from Stefan Tribudini. It was down the inside, right on the left of the screen, if you will. Fourth place into the opening corner, gains another position. He comes out on the outside, and then you think he's going to lose out, but somehow he got back to the inside when he arrived at turn 3. And let's go down and hear from the driver who finished in second place, Amaury Bonduelle.
Amaury, a great weekend for you overall. First place yesterday and second place today. It's good points for the championship.
Yes, for sure. We finished P2 and the target car finished P5. Not very happy about the race because on the start I think it's not very fair with the other driver because 3 drivers passed me at the line, and yeah, it's not fair for me. But yeah, we finished P2 and happy.
Good. Well, it's points. Thank you.
Well, there is a dejected driver, but hold on, he's extended his championship lead. He forced his way back to second. Yes, he's disappointed with what happened at the start. Certainly starting 5th, he was down in about 9th position by the opening corner, but showing the mark of a potential champion, he worked his way back through to the front. In the end, 6.5 seconds down on Igor Oritsev, but many points in the bag. So there we are. Victory for Igor Oritsev by 6.5 seconds. So Amaury Bonduelle and the top AM crew, fantastic. Pier Giacomo Randazzo brought it home, building on the early advantage of Stefan Trabudini, 3rd overall. Fantastic result for them. Sebastian Balthazar, Jacob Riegel in 4th place, and plenty of company. They had Hampus Eriksson all over their tail in 5th place overall. Victory in the Lamborghini Cup class went to the driver in 25th position overall. There we are, Shota Abkazava, so mixing it with the big guns in the middle order of this 48 car field. So Artline take overall victory and also victory in the Lamborghini Cup class. Let's take a look at the start. Stefan Trabudini went from 2nd to 1st, and likewise from 1st to 2nd went Fredrik Schandorf. In behind, it was very, very tight, but an outstanding move up the inside. Look for the bright blue car. That's Igor Oritsev. That was a move that really was the building block of his move to victory. And then by the time he got to turn 3, he was looking up the inside of Fred Schandorf, the pole starter. Jacob Riegel got a very good start. He's up in 4th place, but it was very, very busy. And then the moves started coming, because this is Fred Schandorf picking off Igor Oritsev. He goes into 2nd place. Then a broken drive shaft for D'Amato brought him in. So that was a disappointment, but Jacob Riegel in the mix as well, and Target Racing moving up and down the order, but all along Stefan Trabudini was leading. Then he handed over to Pier Giacomo Randazzo, who had no reason to try and delay Igor Oritsev. Oritsev went through to victory. He also wasn't fighting with this driver, the gold driver, that was Amaury Bonduelle, but slotting back to 3rd place was fine because it was going to be an AM class victory they came here for, and that's what they got. So Randazzo did exactly the right job. And then it got suddenly very busy in behind, and a puncture, a slow puncture, suddenly manifested itself in a proper puncture at chicane, and round went Soderstrom, sorry, 42, so that was San Manalcio, but no problems would delay Igor Oritsev. The car felt fantastic today, and he won by over 6 seconds here at the Nürburgring. So waiting for the drivers to be herded to the podium. It's been a very, very busy day for all concerned, but a lot of happy faces will be making their way up there. Oh, thank you. Oh. Thanks. Waiting for the podium to start. They've got just a slight delay. So many drivers across the 4 classes to get up onto the podium. But the podium ceremony is coming. And look out for Igor Oritsev. He'll be the driver with the largest smile on his face because he started 11th with no particular hopes of even getting on the podium, but he worked a sensational opening few corners and will be coming out onto the podium. And now in the sunshine, out come the drivers. Amaury Bonduelle goes up in 2nd place. Onto the top step goes Igor Oritsev. Arms aloft, job very, very well done indeed. He feels his season is turning at this point. And after the anthems, it's Leipzig Motorsport, by the way, Sebastian Balthazar and Jacob Riegel on the right-hand side, 3rd position in the pro class. So trophies for 3rd place, and then 2 of the drivers who drove solo. The championship leader, he came here in very close 2nd place. Victory yesterday, 2nd place today. Amaury Bonduelle is putting a lot of points into the pot. But Igor Oritsev, that has been a real upswing in his season. Sometimes the team just finds something with the car, and clearly they got something very right indeed at Artline this weekend. He said the car feels absolutely transformed, and it clearly shows. And his best result, actually, so far this season was a 3rd place with a lot of disastrous results around it. So his championship challenge, if it's going to mount, will require many, many more victories to take him at the front end, but you can only take the steps that are possible. And great job for Igor Oritsev today. Really, really positive driving. And all wise people run away from the podium, and all drivers who have got a top result are happy to spray the champagne here in the sunshine at the Nürburgring. That was 2 very different races, one in the grey, damp conditions of a Saturday here at the Nürburgring. But in the sunshine today, Igor Oritsev got everything absolutely spot on, drove solo. And Amaury Bonduelle may have been disappointed with 2nd place, but 2nd place gave him even more of a points advantage. Now he's moved into the championship lead. And of course, with the 4 classes, we have other podiums to follow as well. We've got the Pro-Am class, the Am class, and the Lamborghini Cup class as well. So we'll hopefully cycle through those, but off go the 3 of the top 4 finishers, but the three top pro crews were the ones we greeted here at the Nürburgring for a very sunny and happy podium ceremony, particularly for Igor Oritsev. And the drivers shuffle their way through, waiting for the crew that actually led the race early on. And out we come. This Lola Lovenfoss coming up. This is the Pro-Am class. That's car number 72. Entry Lola Lovenfoss and Di Canto. And in 2nd place, yesterday's class winners, the number 11 crew of Mechanik Motorsport, Stefan Rosina, Bronick, Formagnac. And so as the anthems drop away, that's the Pro-Am winners on the top step of the podium there. Number 81 crew of Target Racing, Alex Howe and Frederick Schandorf. That's it from us today. Join us for the next Super round.